welcome to another EU5 video where we have a look at what's coming to EU5, or I guess more specifically, what others are going to be doing to EU5 so that we can play with something a little bit different than just vanilla EU5 when EU5 comes out. Of course, we're looking at the early access modding spotlight because a bunch of modders have been given early access to the game, and funnily enough, none of them leaked the game. Crazy how that happens. Anyway, could never be EU5. Anyway, yeah, as you can see on this screen, we got Voltaire's Nightmare coming out, Imperium Universalis, extended timeline, Europa expanded, and After the End, as well as PDX Unlimiter, PDX Tools, Arcanum, Minesweeper, and I don't know what No Whip stands for. I have read through this dev diary. Of course, it came out on Wednesday, and today is Friday. I've been a little bit busy. What can I say? But yeah, let's have a look and see what's coming to modding in EU5. So, this time, the friendly neighborhood community manager Ryan Ryagi will be hosting. Though most of you know him as Ryagi, he's been the community team for EU since the Origins immersion pack for EU4, and since then he's found himself managing said team. He's a really nice guy. I met him when I went to Sitges in March, I think it was. February, March, one of those two. Really nice guy. Really nice guy. So, something very near and dear to myself, and also just myself as Lambert, obviously, and many a Tinto is modding. Firstly, want to get some myths busted. Is EU5 the most moddable game of all time? Not exactly, at least not at release. That being said, modding is still a core pillar of our community in games, so many of the systems and mechanics in EU5 were designed with modding in mind. Looking at you situations in international organizations. I'm going to say, looking at you mission trees. I have a suspicion, very strong suspicion, that the only reason that mission trees are in the game at all is because of the modding potential for it. And specifically, I'm obviously very Anbana coded, but obviously there's a lot of mods that use mission trees to, deliver their content, and I have a suspicion that mission trees, as they are in EU5, are just look, we got to make the framework for the mods to work, but how are we going to use this? Because I don't really want to use this. We'll just make it tutorial stuff. That's the way I'm kind of vibing with it. So while I don't use mission trees at all when I'm playing now, I am very glad that the framework is in so that mods like Anbana and Antebellum and every other mod that wants to can use the mission tree system to give us what we like. So yeah, no, that's I'm looking at those ones. So, do some mods have early access to the game already? Yes, many but not all of the most popular overhauls in particular have for some time, and they've done this to ensure that they get a head start in EU5. Even if that doesn't necessarily mean they'll be ready at launch, it does mean that we'll get them sooner than otherwise. So, and I don't think this is an exhaustive list, it's just the ones that are kind of allowed to be in this spotlight showcase, maybe. But yes, there is one very glaring omission here, and that is the lack of my personal favorite mod, Anbana. So they want to be transparent about why Anbana is not on this list. Some of the talented developers within the Anbana team have ambitions of their own. For legal reasons, these ambitions did not permit them to receive full early access. With that being said, we will still be supporting their work on modding EU5, and will continue to do so post-release. Of course, lack of early access does not completely bar them from their work. And obviously, Anbana is giving a thing as well, but I feel it was slightly badly worded, because I've seen so much about, Anbana is now going to be making a standalone game, Anbana, that's going to compete with EU5, and therefore, that's why no early access. And that's just it's not true. As far as I'm aware. No. This is essentially, J-Hunt is the lead of Anbana. He's the guy who came up with the setting. He is the top of the totem pole when it comes to Anbana. and he now works for Aquila Interactive, who are making Gilded Destiny, which is a direct competitor to Victoria 3. That's the long and short of it. That is not public information, right? That is public information if you know where to look. Gilded Destiny has him in the credits, so that's. I'm not like revealing anything insider information here. This is public information. But that's why they don't have access. That's essentially it. It is sad because it would be absolutely fantastic for Anbana to get early access and all that, but it's a great opportunity for Jay, and I really wish him the best of luck. And I really am looking forward to Gilded Destiny. So, yeah, it's a shame, but you know what? There's a lot of things in life that are shames. But anyway, Anbana has given us a message as well. The Anbana team is thrilled to confirm its dedication to bringing our expansive fantasy world into Europa Universalis 5. Regardless of early access status, players can expect the setting they've grown to love to be significantly expanded and built upon. We believe the enhanced mechanics of EU5 will unlock unprecedented opportunities, allow us to dig deeper into Anbana better than ever before. I'm so looking forward to Anbana in EU5 for sure. If you'd like to know more, keep track of the progress, go onto their Discord, which of course is fantastic. So it's great that they are planning on doing some EU5 stuff. I'm super looking forward to seeing what they do. Anyway, we'll go deeper on some of the other mods that have in store later on in the Very Tinto talk. However, for now, let's take a brief look at what modding in EU5 actually looks like. What is moddable and what isn't? I'm not exactly new to modding, but nor would I consider myself an expert on the topic. As for me, I'm not a modder at all. There's a lot of stuff in this dev diary that I'm going to kind of gloss over. But if you're a modder, I'm sure you've already read this dev diary. This is more just to showcase what's going to be going on and what we can maybe expect, rather than this is how modding works, from my perspective at least, because I'm not a modder. So, they have enlisted the generous help of mod author Siopa, who's also been assisting us behind the scenes with modding support. Fantastic. So, the reality of EU5 modding is in many ways similar to that of recent Paradox run strategy games, Vicky 3, CK3, and Imperative Rome, as it all operates on the Gemini framework, which brings many modding conveniences over from those games and allows us to create some advanced mods with a rich scripting system and data context-based GUI. In this short introduction to EU5's modding, he'd like to share some of the syntax as well as some features that may set EU5 apart from other Gemini-based games. But now, first of all, how does modding in EU5 currently work? Process is a bit different to for EU5 compared to other games, so we'll go over that. In order to create a stub folder for your first mod, you need to navigate to the Mods and DLC menu in the top right corner and then open the Mod Tools view by clicking on the sandbox item. Oh, words, so many words. Top right of the of your screen, when you launch EU5, you will have a little button. You can click that and it opens the modding area, mod stuff. And then obviously click a few more buttons and then you know that's where your mods are held. That does mean, by the way, these are available in the game on the main menu. There is no launcher for EU5. It's not a thing. Everything is done within the game, which makes it even more crazy considering you can just go from the game back to the main menu and then back to the game and back to the main menu, and you don't have to relaunch the whole damn thing, which is something that people are very happy about, of course. So in the menu that pops up, you put in basic information about the mod that you're trying to create. John Universalis' Bazaar Adventure, naturally. And a bunch of the various things that you can choose for it to be about. Example of mod featuring the infamous John Universalis. After pressing a Create Mod Stub button, a new folder was created in the mod folder called John_Universalis, containing metadata which contains some basic data for the mod and is required for the game to recognize the mod. The syntax of the metadata folder and files inside is much similar to other recent titles. I did a little bit of modding. Alright, I did more like mod editing as I, changed a bunch of stuff about Anbana to make it a little bit more friendly for multiplayer. and creating the mod, this seems like way easier than what I ended up doing for my Anbana submod. So that's good. Once you have the mod stuff created, we'll create a playset which we'll assign the mod to and test it. We also add other mods and order them according to when they should be loaded. So we have setup test mod and John Universalis. Right, fair. So you can apply the changes. The game will then reload briefly to apply the mods. This is the only part where you have to reload the game, apparently. Fair enough. So let's see what some of the things you can do in terms of modding. Begin with the syntax for one of the most basic and widely used types of EU5 content, the regular famous event, alongside with some comments to explain what's going on. And again, this is the kind of thing that I'm not going to read through, but, you know, this seems very familiar if you've ever looked into EU4 event files. This looks very, very familiar. Obviously, if it's got a hash, £, whatever you want to call it, it is obviously commented out, so it's not actually being read by the game, but, you know, this all looks very, very familiar. Let's go over the practical example showcasing the power of a script. For this purpose, they'll create a situation, a fancy new way of representing dynamic and complex economic and political situations in EU5. To illustrate how a situation works under the hood, let's consider a modded scenario of the utmost importance and historicity, the Rise of Ulm. We begin by creating a new file called riseofulm.txt in the common situations, and I can tell that they're using Visual Studio Code for this, I think. So yeah, you can see what you're doing here, the name of the situation, how it will start, how it will end, who can see the situation. So yeah, if Ulm exists, then it can be seen by Ulm and any country that knows of Ulm. Yeah, it all seems relatively familiar. So now they have a basic setup that allows to go into the game and see the situation for themselves. All the text will appear localized in Baron, so let's give the Rise of Ulm a little title and fitting description before they go in, giving all of that kind of stuff, and you'll get what your situation sounds like. However, as it stands, the situation clearly does absolutely nothing, appears suddenly, and I get no notification of its start. So they'll fix that. You can see how it triggers, what countries get the event trigger, all this. Again, I'm not a modder. This isn't the kind of thing that I do. I don't think I'll be making mods, but for those people who do, this is can be super useful. Every situation features its own personal map mode that they can customize in the situation, so they'll implement that. Yeah, custom map modes, actually kind of awesome as well. That is confirmed to be a thing. So if there's a map mode that people think, oh, this should totally be a thing, it probably can be. I know the Mayo and Texas people did a lot of work in trying to make like custom map modes, and if I remember rightly, they did something with like the trade goods map mode for distance, if I remember, something crazy like that. But yeah, no, they'll be very happy that they'll be able to make their own map modes as well. It'll be fantastic. So the map mode that they want to measure the distance from different parts, from different locations, sorry, quite often, so they'll create a new script value that they can reuse for the purpose in common script values. So the value is distance from Ulm, so we're going to get that as a value. Then you can define what the colors are, so closer will be, say, more red, further away will be more green, going from yellow to green, red to yellow, etc. And then you end up with an map that looks like this. How close you are to Ulm, which is kind of awesome as well, because it's clearly using the distance in game as like proximity, because you have places that are closer that are green and then yellow further away, but like based on whether you can trace like a naval route to it makes it slightly easier. So of course Brittany is further away than, you know, northern Italy. It's slightly lighter, but you know, you know what I mean. It's not just a radial doodad, right? It's spreading as it should do in the game, based on, you know, mountains from the Roman Empire to Epirus. So there's a very big split of how proximity works. I'm just fumbling words. Whatever. I'll move on. So they also have a tooltip that you can add to it. You can add hints as well using the hint system. Rise of Ulm is a situation representing the rise of the free city of Ulm, which will crush nations in its wake. There is nothing we can do. And also, the end is nigh. The economy fools, etc., etc. They can also add graphical interface for it, so you can see they're using the Black Death panel there. You can choose from various different widgets that you can add into the situation breakdown as well. Again, this is all real nice stuff for people who like modding. But I'm gonna kind of skip through it because I'm not a modder, and if you are a modder, you've probably already read this. But yeah, adding in a bunch of widgets, all of the different things that you can do to the situation, all the things that are moddable. So some random things like death reasons and, you know, unit categories and unit abilities, so you'll be able to mod those in as well. This isn't just about situations, this is just about like what you can do with mods in general, and I'm sure there's like tons more that you can do, you know, that isn't related to this. But yeah, fantastic stuff. Above pictures was the in-game common folder. In addition, there's main menu and common folder with these things. Yep, cool. So what isn't moddable? This is more important, I think. As much as we wish we could say nothing, we must also face reality. No such system is ever complete, and EU5 is also burdened with some limitations, many of which will be looked at post-release. Some of the most notable features that might impede modding as of writing that they know of: custom start dates, currently not available as a feature. So this is like bookmarks, I believe. So being able to open the game and have, oh, I'm going to select, say, you know, the extended timeline mod. Open the game and say, I'm going to select 1444, or I'm going to select 1492, or, you know, whatever you end up wanting to play. That's not available as a feature. These guys are smart cookies and they made it work anyway, but we'll get to that in a moment. The database entry modes do have limitations. Most importantly, on actions and setup files are not affected by them as of right now. Whatever that means, I actually don't know. Not every part of the game can be interacted with script and GUI script easily. As with every game, not all use cases are immediately clear during development and tend to be opened up with further patches. Many objects inside setup do work additively, and one may additively attach new on-actions to existing on-actions, so additive behavior is possible. I don't know what any of that meant, but sure, okay. There is a map editor available, but as of right now, it requires exceptionally good hardware. They're going to work on making that a bit more performative so that people without NASA computers will be able to run it. Lastly, in terms of multiplayer and achievement compatibility, this is the controversial part. It is important to specify that, like other Gemini-based games, mods that affect the GUI folder will also impact the checksum and therefore will impact the ability to join others' multiplayer games. This is a notable change, as in EU4 GUI mods did not necessarily prevent this. This also affects achievement compatibility, as unmodified checksum is required to earn achievements. In terms of what folders affect checksum, it's the common, events, map data, GUI, localization, and setup folders. And yeah, that's a little bit of a shame, of course. I think it's understandable when you realize that the reason for it is the GUI became a lot more powerful in what it could do. So pre-Imperator, you could change the graphical user interface and you wouldn't change the gameplay in any meaningful way unless you made the GUI just completely stupid and, you know, detrimental to the play. But you couldn't cheat with it. Since Imperative, because the power of the GUI has increased, and, you know, for good reasons as well, you know, it's just how it works. You can now, with just the GUI, give yourself a gajillion ducats or manpower, or annex all other countries, create a cheat menu within the game, etc., etc. So they had to lock it down. And yes, this is a regression in some way because there are some, you know, GUI mods, such as font mods, I believe are locked behind this. And some people just like changing the font of the game, and that's a shame that that's no longer a thing that you can kind of do. I remember in Imperator there were UI mods made by Agamade that I thought were just completely necessary to play the game. This was pre 2.0 and the whole UI rework. And those were not, available to play when, doing achievement runs, which was super sad because they were just really kind of important. But yeah, it is sad, but I understand why it's not a thing. On the issue of, like, accessibility, it is slightly less accessible, of course. I can't think of any mods that would be super necessary from a, like, disability accessibility point of view. The UI is already scalable up to, like, 200%. There are colorblind modes already available. Maybe this is just ignorance. I'm sure it is. Many things are. I don't know of something that they are missing, but I'm sure if it was communicated to them, look, this disability requires this kind of thing, and it'd be, this mod does it, but because of your checksum situation, I am unable to play multiplayer or get achievements because of blah 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 blah. I'm sure in that case, like, Paradox would work at, making it more acceptable and having that mod integrated into the game. But as a mod, it won't be. It just won't, unfortunately. But yeah, feel free to ask about mods in the comments of here, and they will try and reply. And of course, I've got some comments that we're already going to go through. So let's have a look at some of the various mods that have had access and are doing insane things in EU5 already. Starting with Extended Timeline. So, Quent here is the guy leading us through this, the team lead of the Extended Timeline mod. With EU5 on the horizon, they're excited to show us a first look at Extended Timeline, a continued project carried over from EU4, a mod that represents the historical timeline of the past 2,000 years from the Roman era up until the modern day, with all their kingdoms, tribes, and empires from their rise till their final days. While they're very excited to get the project underway, they're also faced with many challenges to overcome. To him, one of the core features of Extended Timeline is the ability to start at any start date and play for as long as you want. In EU5, however, it does not allow a free start date selection as EU4 did. This, I'm sure, will be fixed by EU5, like, natively, because this was something that was promised by Yuan way back when. To solve this, rather than making a large number of separate start dates, they have a single database and a script that can create a start setup for any date of our choice from it. This is madness. This is actually kind of crazy. I don't know how they've managed this. It's like, what, have they got like you open up the game and then you maybe have like a UI thing saying, this is the dates that you can choose from, and if you click one of them, it runs a script that changes the game to that date? That's insane considering the amount that goes into each date. That's actually insane. Another obvious challenge is that with the massively increased number of locations and the addition of population, the amount of research needed to cover all of the start dates is enormous. To tackle this, they will start with the data imported from the EU4 version of the mod and gradually increase the detail to what is allowed by the new game. Still, this is a truly grand undertaking with years of development ahead, but the aim is to have a much larger team working on the mod to achieve a great level of historical detail and flavour in a reasonable amount of time. With the first versions of the script already finished, they can present the first look at Extended Timeline in EU5. If you would like to follow the development journey further or help with development, you can go to their Discord server. So, we have... I mean, I don't know exactly what date it is, but it's obviously Roman Empire, so probably... Pontus isn't a part of it, nor is the Bosporus. I'm gonna guess, like, 100 AD? Something like that. But, yeah, there we go. And then we have probably, this is pre-Islamic rise. We've got the Visigoths here. I still don't like that they're calling it the Byzantine Empire. We've got the Kingdom of Francia. So we're looking at, like, 800, or it's probably with Wessex and all, it's probably like 867, something like that. But yeah, awesome to see that as well. And then we got like a 1826 mod. Yeah, seems like an 1836-ish era. Then again, Germany is completely unified. So, are we looking at like 1900? Oh, it's probably. Wait, no, it's freaking. It's World War One. It's World War One, and yeah, never mind. Either way, look, freaking maps. Awesome that they've got this done already, and I'm really looking forward to playing multiplayer games in various scenarios in extended timeline. That seems like it's going to be a real fun time. So, moving on to Imperium Universalis. Good Looking and Jackade have been working on the new map, which will include more of the old world than previously depicted, though the new world won't be present just as in EU4. Pictured below is the extent of the map with the area in red being playable. So they're going and including all of China, Japan, cutting out Russia, which is fantastic, bits of Africa, India, all that good stuff. Other than that, Noah's rebels have been working on family trees for a few countries in China. Pictured below is the current progress of the Zhou dynasty up until 612. Very nice. Very nice indeed. So they're still at a very early stage of development, so there's not much else tangible to show for now. Though if I'd like to keep up with future updates, again, Discord server link in there. Europa Expanded even. Stiopa and Lord Varangian and Leah are delighted to announce that they too are in the EU5 modder program, begun to work on the next installment of the Vanilla Plus mod, Europa Expanded. Today they'd like to show what the plans are, what they've made for it, and what we can expect on the 4th of November. So they're planning on a release date release, which is fantastic. EE 2.0 will be more of the same format that they might know from EE 1.12 and 1.13. The goal is to create a personal fork of the game where they bring forward their own content, adjust the mechanics ever so slightly to their liking, as well as bring forth a great deal of new, deep, and engaging mechanics, hopefully not too many though, so as to not turn into an overhaul. What they've done, what they've been doing since they got access to the game is making a Reconquista situation. What I will say as well, with European Expanded, I very much enjoyed the... God, and I'm forgetting the name of it now. The Ages, in EU4 you click the Ages thing, and then you got the whole, like, you build up to 800 Splendor, and then you get a bonus. I can't remember what that whole system's called. Splendor bonus? I don't remember. Either way, I really enjoy the Europa Expanded Splendor system. That thing slaps. Really enjoy that. And also their Advisors Expandedness. Really enjoy that as well. Because obviously Europa Expanded is like a whole family of mods. And I'm pretty sure there's a one where they're all merged as well. But yeah, those two are my favorite ones. Anyway, Reconquista. They've experimented with many new systems and forms of content. On one hand, they have a brand new situation under works, the Reconquista. It's their answer to the question of how to promote the historical conflict between Castile and Granada, promote the latter's survival, as well as to introduce flavour for the eponymous Reconquista. Unlike other situations, the Reconquista is a situation that will exist as of the 1st of April 1337, having technically been in effect for several centuries as of the game's start date. So, it's work in progress, including the UI, but there are going to be different phases. This feels very... The phases part feels very CK3, but also, I guess, the 100 Years' War also kind of has phases, so not exactly. So we have the peace phase, where Granada is part of the Iberian Tributary System International Organization, while it's attempting to keep the Crusader fervor down. Should it increase too high, though, Castile will break the relationship and the situation will enter the distress phase, where the Granadan Castilian truce is no longer taken for granted. The truce is over, and various hostile actions become available, namely an action to create special casus belli for the conquest of Granada. And then the war phase. The last bastion of Islam is fighting against the forces of Christendom. New actions relating to war become available for both sides. So in addition to the new mechanics, the situation will add a plethora of new events for the main two actors of the conflict. We'll add additions for neighboring states to affect the conflict in some ways, as well as try to integrate the Rio Soldado War as a part of it. Very nice indeed. Should the Muslims turn the tide and form Al-Andalus, a special form of the situation might emerge, instead being known as the Reconquista. This seems strange to me because, as far as I'm aware, Al-Andalus, as a formable in EU5 right now, requires there to be no Christian states in Iberia, rather than just having half of it like it was in EU4. So maybe they've changed that, actually. They're considering reversing the roles of the two powers in this case, and maybe should Christians turn the tide in such a case, maybe the situation could emerge into a re-conquista. They've also upgraded the cabinet flavor stuff as well. I've having read this, obviously, Dev Diary on Wednesday, this is the part that I'm actually really excited to try out. This seems really cool. Here's yet another one of the many projects, not all of which we'll be talking about here today. As our first content drops, we're planning on dropping an event pack containing around 30 new events about the EU5 cabinet system, new government reforms, and new cabinet actions relating to it. They don't have much information to divulge just yet, but they'd like to leave us with a sneak peek. So, radical reforms. I will say, obviously, radical reforms in EU4 is a fantastic event that you want to fire as soon as possible. If you have an inflation advisor and a trade efficiency advisor in your cabinet in your... God, I forgot what it's called in EU4 now. Those advisors, if you have both of those at the same time, there is a meantime to have an event where you get radical reforms, where if you choose to fire them both, you get 200 of each monarch point. It's a fantastic event. You love this event. You will have gone for this event in every single one of your campaigns if you know about it. Great event. EU5 already has it without this mod. And it's not good. It's not a good event. One of the options costs like a crap ton of stability, and the other one... I mean, neither of the options are good. I think one is gaining research or losing research progress, and the other is stability. So both your options are negative. But yeah, hopefully this radical reforms replaces that one, so I don't have to worry about it. So need for radical reforms. A new character interaction will be unlocked, allowing us to change a policy for the cost of 10 stability. That's good. That's a lot cheaper. I think it's a lot cheaper. Policies are usually 12 stability, I think. Anyway, local courts is what the burghers want. Having the different cabinet guys actually want different things is also really, really nice. So burghers do not support autonomous councils, but maybe you'll be able to get him to support it. That's really cool, actually. The different estates actually want different laws and policies, and will actively block you from changing them. Is really cool, and something that EU5 doesn't do quite enough of just yet. But also, the Dutch Revolt and United Provinces is something they're working on. One of the new situations planned for EE, I should keep saying EU, for EU5 is the Dutch Revolt situation. Anyone familiar with EU4 vanilla Dutch Revolt, or even our Europa expanded Dutch Revolt, will know roughly the idea of such a situation. Considering the time gap between the conflicts of the state of Burgundy and the Dutch states, though, there are different liberties taken with the representation of the situation. Naturally. So, to represent the dynamics of the conflict as it happened historically, the situation will slowly advance into new phases, where different interactions and conflicts will be unlocked for the situation. So you have an unrest phase, where numerous locations and subjects in the Low Countries slowly band together, create a unified revolt against whoever they consider the strongest external threat. We have the revolt phase, Je m'attendrai, I nailed that, don't worry about it. United Provinces have been formed and are ready to combat their overlords, if there are any overlords, I think. It's probably should be stated. The Overlord will mainly try to deal with culling down the rebellion. The Dutch and their allies fight for freedom. Makes sense. And then interwar phase. Although United Provinces may achieve independence in practicality, the conflict would not be resolved until both sides agree to a peaceful resolution. Very cool. So they've talked about United Provinces for a bit, but they've never actually revealed what they are. Instead of a unified country, the Dutch Revolt will create an international organization where numerous states within the Low Countries have an option to join it. This is the United Provinces, meant to represent a more accurate Dutch state of the time. That's a cool idea. I think that's probably weaker than a player just owning all of the Netherlands, though. But maybe you can, through the laws, progress to the point where you unite all of them, maybe? I don't know. Most of the laws planned with it are meant to either empower either the absolute kingship of the Orangists, or if they're meant to bolster the state, empowering the status and the stadtholders instead. For that reason, most of the laws in this international organization change the structure of how elections happen. That's a cool idea. Very nice indeed, and obviously votes in favor and all that kind of stuff as well. However, instead of making it a mere statist and orangist conflict, they also want to represent the possibility of an orangist state that does give each province extended rights, or a statist realm that centralizes power to the stadtholder, etc., etc. Also, they're going to be doing some new generic mission packs as well. So they've developed their own mission philosophy. They have their own criticisms and opinions on EU4 mission trees, aiming to create something new out of them. So 3 types of missions that will be present in EE 2.0. So we've got generic mission packs acquired by everyone, conquering areas, discovering areas, of that kind of stuff. We have situational mission packs, more restricted but not quite country-specific level. There for certain government types, certain countries that are part of international organizations or situations. So like all Catholics or all Orthodox or that kind of thing potentially. Or all probably Germans maybe. And then finally the country missions, where each individual country, I guess, is going to have some mission trees. They do like mission trees of EU4 in the aspect of working towards certain goals. They do want to bring that to the mod for EU5. However, it's unlikely they'll use the existing EU5 mission pack framework for the missions. If they're to bring narrative gameplay with goals to reach into EU5, they want such mission packs to be accessed concurrently. So right now in EU5, when you choose a mission, you do have to complete it before you can move on to a new tree, and they want them to be done at the same time. So a branch for the Romans to conquer West Balkans wouldn't be mutually exclusive with conquering Anatolia, and that's a non-negotiable goal for them. That's fair enough. So they have now got the centralization mission pack showcase at what they've done. There's already a centralization mission in EU5 already, so I'm not sure how much different this one is going to be to it, but, you know, that one is more of a tutorial of that's what they want you to do. But either way, centralization societal value mission pack. In order to pick the mission, you have to select an area you wish to have centralized. The mission then guides you towards using the local control or towards building up a local area capital in order to turn it into the center of the aforementioned. So missions include reducing unrest, building temples, and connecting roads to the capital. Very nice. And a bunch of the various missions and rewards that you get for that. Must be said that those requirements and rewards may vary depending on the approach you choose, etc., etc. So, what is coming on the 4th of November? Despite the motivation, the development of the mod is still bogged down by the greatest bottleneck of all, life. They'll not be able to finish much of the content they've shown in the dev diary by release. Fair enough. If there is content, we aim to release it by then. First of our mission packs and the cabinet flavor upgrade. Very nice. And you can join the Discord server as well if you are interested in seeing more of that. Voltaire's Nightmare is next. EU5 already kind of felt like a Voltaire's Nightmare with the amount of extra locations that are available. These guys are going a little insane. They just are. So, Shy Guy and Ratkus, co-developers of Voltaire's Nightmare 2 for EU4, since the announcement of EU5, they've been eager to develop our mod in the new game, as we're often limited by the technical circumstances and boundaries in EU4. However, with EU5, they'll be able to take the project to a new level, calling it Voltaire's Nightmare 3. At this stage, they would like to hold back on any in-game teasers until development has progressed further and they have something spectacular to show. Instead, they can give an insight into the vision, to create the most detailed and accurate representation of the Holy Roman Empire in any grand strategy game. So, the highlighted area shows the planned scope of VN3, so going, I think red is absolutely going to be in and green is potentially in, or is green what's going to be in and then red is just showing the actual HRE. It could be either way, to be honest. I would find it very strange, though, if they added, you know, the Venetian colonies, I guess, but not the land that connects them to it. Either way, whatever. To begin with, they'll show a few values for comparison. This is insane to me. EU5 has 2.63 kilometers squared per pixel. That's the every pixel on the map is that detailed. Voltaire's Nightmare 2 showed a much smaller area, 1.7 kilometers squared. Voltaire's new nightmare went even deeper at 0.4 kilometers squared, and Voltaire's Nightmare 3 is showing 0.038 kilometers squared per pixel. That's insanity! You could see my house from that level of detail. Probably not. But that is actually freaking... I do not live in that big of a house. That's actually wild. It's actually wild. It's insane. With these values, you can clearly see the extent to which the increase in detail, level of detail of the new map compared to other maps. To make it easier to understand, let's just say that one location in Voltaire's Nightmare 3 will be about the size of a municipality, allowing us to represent the HRE with several thousand individual locations. Good lord. While EU5 has around 300 members in HRE, they'll likely be able to increase the number considerably. Not only will be able to fill in the missing countries, bishoprics, dynasties, houses, maybe even, the individual, tenancies. They'll be able to incorporate entirely new entities, including ministries, unfree knights and officials who are employed for administrative purposes, imperial knighthoods, class of lower nobility that was organized in knightly cantons, and then imperial villages. I mean, yeah, going all the way down to village level, crazy. Similar to imperial cities, certain villages enjoyed imperial immediacy, but had much smaller population and far less political influence. In addition to completely redrawn map, they naturally want to expand the gameplay in the Holy Roman Empire with new cultures, religions, events, situations, organizations, advances, formables, laws, and government reforms to add more depth and fun. Madness. These guys are insane in all the best ways. After the End is also coming. Geminus and Null Pointer, with help from MacMonica, from After the End to showcase the beginning of the foray into the new world of EU5. So, After the End is a setting originating in 2014 for CK2, which brought the medieval experience to a post-apocalyptic America. Set in the far future, long after a mysterious event regressed the world's societies to a medieval technology level. However, unlike many post-apocalyptic media, the Americas has grown past their scavenging era, having built new societies from the ashes of the old. These new civilizations echo our own modern societies and cultures, seen through a distinctly medieval lens. The original After the End has been expanded, interpreted, and repurposed multiple times across multiple Paradox games and mediums. From the original CK2 mod to the fan fork and the CK3 iteration to EU4's long After the End and numerous regional variants, After the End has always been a living, ever-evolving project. After the End EU5 should not be seen as a direct continuation of either CK2 or CK3 projects, nor a simple port of the EU4-8 mod, but a fresh reinterpretation of its core concept adapted to make the best use of the tools and mechanics available in EU5. While the CK3 version has a focus on characters, dynasties, and a myriad of local faiths, EU5 opens up new ways to interpret the world. By moving beyond purely dynastic gameplay, it allows better represent non-feudal politics, such as theocracies and non-noble republics. The pop system also lets them better represent minorities without the binary culture and religion mechanics that CK3 features for their counties. This is also something that really annoys me about EU4, and I'm super glad that, they're using pops to get out of this problematic thing. Just in EU5 in general. With minority pops and building-based countries adding a new depth to the world. The more flexible religious system also allows them to portray various schools and variations with the same religion through custom laws and policies rather than requiring splintered faiths. It means they can represent or reflect the diverse philosophies of the Golden State of California and Guruism, the schools of Americanist constitutionalism, and even the wide range of Catholic traditions across the Americas. Cool. Instead of a myriad of Catholicisms, Catholic countries will have access to folk devotions such as folk saints, patron saints, and local orders, depending on the holy sites they have available. A cool sounding mod. I've not actually played a After the End. Maybe I should. EU5 allows us to create a truly interconnected and global representation of the After the End setting, one that reaches far beyond the Americas. Different parts of the world have responded in very different ways to the aftermath of the event, which they intend to eventually represent with unique cultures, religions, mechanics, and gameplay. However, for the initial release, they'll be focusing on making a playable version of the post-apocalyptic America starting in the, 29th century, before tackling the rest of the world. They also have plans once the gameplay in the Americas for the first two ages are in a solid position for new resources and RGO distributions that push for neo-colonialism, as well as secondary institutions to represent redevelopment of technologies from before the event. Sounds like a really cool mod, actually. I don't know why I haven't played it yet. Obviously, not played this one because it's not out yet, but the other versions of After the End I've not played either. Finally, EU5's new system allows them to represent many groupings through the flexible international organizations, from the Holy Colombian Commonwealth to the Brazilian Empire and even the Americanist presidency itself. Catholicism will also make use of international organizations, with the Catholic Church initially split between various successors, such as the Conclavian Papacy of St. Louis and the particular Patriarch of Asuncion. And soft schisms, will these divisions be amended once contact with Rome is restored, or will the divisions lead to full schisms? So, as far as I'm aware, After the End only had America on the map for CK2. Wasn't it also... Is that the mod where North was, like, to the left? Like, they just rotated the entire world? Whereas here it looks like they're also adding... Are they also going to be adding the rest of the world too? That'd be a massive expansion of their mod, if so. Either way, they're making use of multiple Python scripts to not only quickly convert content from previous After the End iterations, but also allow maps to be translated directly into mods as provinces, countries, and pops. It's only a small sliver of the project as a whole, but as professional map starers, they are certainly in a great place to start. Very cool. So this is what the mod looks like for countries. So some things will be a little bit, familiar to you. I would assume, like Quebec, for example. Some of them, I have no idea where they come from. Grangelander, no idea. What is a Texan? Couldn't tell you. Calling people from Newfoundland Newfies is very funny as well. Religious layout as well. Lots of different religions there. Very cool. Very nice. They also have South America involved as well. And yeah, you can see a little bit of Africa there. So looks like they're definitely expanding into the old world as well. And then South American cultures, they've all changed up as well. Very nice. Finally, religions of South America there. So if you're interested, there is obviously a Discord link as well. If you're interested in any of these mods, they've got Discord links in all of them. So you probably need to go and, have a look at this dev diary yourself. Finally, I don't know if that's actually finally. Next up, we have the New World Improvement Project. Null Pointer, aka Troubadour in the Paradox Plaza forums. While Paradox did a commendable job mapping and implementing the Americas and made great use of the community feedback on Tinto maps, you Brazilians especially are very happy about, I forget what the thing's called, but it was all impassable terrain in the original one, and then they changed it after feedback. Either way. There's always more flavor to be added, from historical tidbits to alternative historical possibilities and regional flavor. Many improvements are focused on pre-Columbian and colonial Americas are possible. Despite not being his main assignment, as he's mainly working with the After the End team, he decided to give a try at a couple of these improvements as a way to learn how to mod EU5. And as a result, NoWhip is born. This relatively small, and compared to the other projects here, mod should come with a Day Zero release, including hundreds of custom colonial nation names, including both historical and alt-historical alternatives, over 20 custom formable nations, improved Colombian exchange mechanics, a more active exploration of the Americas by the AI, and a rework of South American provinces and areas to better reflect historical colonial administrations. This sounds really, really cool. Of course, the Day Zero release will just be a snippet of what's possible to achieve, and community collaboration will be very welcome. So if you're interested in providing historical or alt-historical names for locations, provinces, or areas in the Americas, keep an eye out for NoWhip, and there is obviously the Discord link there as well. So we have the formidable colonial nation of Brazil, which has a lovely bit of flag that I can't zoom in and still show you, unfortunately. Just the way that I've set up my screen. We also have a bunch of historical and dynamic names, more active colonial AI, which is really nice to see. So Colony of America, Viceroyalty of Tamaulipas, Viceroyalty of New Spain, bunch of them down here as well. Very nice to see. Late game North America with all countries explore and colonize enabled, hence the chaos. So this is what we have going on here with their new settings. Looks really nice. And then updated areas in South America matching colonial provinces during EU5's timeline. Nice. Very cool. On to Arcanum. Some of you might know him from the EU4 modathons, but today they're going to be showcasing a bit of Arcanum. As development of it only started when Project Caesar was publicly announced, there's still work to be done. The most important core systems and aids should be completed for the launch. Very nice. So, what does Arcanum do? It's a modding tool that he's developing. Okay. It's built to make working with your mods smoother and take care of some of the most heavy, repetitive work off your shoulders. Modifying any object is no longer a case of finding the right file, locating the object's definition within it, and understanding how to change the value. It can now all be done with a few simple clicks with no prior knowledge required. If you've ever pressed the wrong button, you have an undo and redo system for it. Saving changes is just as flexible, can be simple as hitting a single button or advanced as you need. Very nice. Interactive map there as well, lets you visualize changes. That's really cool. I like that Paradox is allowing people the early access to do modding. I think it's actually insanely nice. This guy, Minotaur, taking that opportunity to make modding tools for other modders is like next level awesome. Like super nice there. So what's the progress and how does the workflow actually look like? So I might not have time and space to explain every detail in the Tinto talk. Cut down version of what they already have implemented. So you have project files, mod list, file watches, questers, settings, UI customization, file customization, error logs, tree-based history, interactive maps, and plugin support. Very cool. I think that's awesome that that kind of thing is there for sure. Like, I'm sure that mods like Anbada may end up making use of something like this to make their mod. Like, that's honestly, like, you get early access to the game, and instead of making your own mod to change the game, you're making it easier for other modders. Like, it's just cool. So we have a menu system here where you can deal with your mods. Oh, people are going to be happy to see that as well. After confirming your vanilla installation, loading screen will quickly pass by, and we end up in our main editor view. Main view is where you spend most of the time using the tool. So, yeah, again, I'm not a modder, so I don't really know what the hell I'm looking at for all of this stuff, but a lot of people have been asking for location flat maps, so there you go, make use of that if you like. Split into three main views. On the left, they have dynamically generated and customizable UI. Center, they have the interactive map. On the right side of the screen, they have a dynamic element, which will become visible for specialized editors. Nice. Again, I'm not a modder, so this kind of stuff goes a little bit over my head, but I just think it's awesome that it is there for other people to use. Awesome. So if you manage to make you curious, you want to use Arcanum or follow the development to see what crazy features they're going to implement in the future, like an EU4 to EU5 importer, kind of interesting there. Again, Discord link as well. PDX tools. I have used this tool. I have used this tool very much. Save file analyzer in the browser and a suite of community tools, and they're bringing it to EU5 as well. For those unfamiliar on what PDX tools offers the EU4 community and get the ideas flowing, has an interactive map and creation of time-lapse videos and screenshots across multiple map modes. Look, EU5 doesn't have a time-lapse. If PDX tools can create EU5 time-lapses, I'm so freaking happy. Tools breaking down the most efficient way to dev. Oh, this is what EU4 gets. So you can see how to dev push an institution. That's what I often use it for. You can de-iron man your save files, timelines, updating saves, etc., etc. So, the journey to match and surpass EU4's feature set will be community-driven as ever. Bring your ideas, visualizations, and UX streams to the Discord. Jump on the GitHub. Ping Komaguchi in the thread and help shape development, naturally. On the technical front, supporting the grand scale of EU5 from the map to save file sizes while keeping PDX tools defining performance characteristics required significant internal rework to provide a solid foundation to build upon. Everything from arena allocator deserialization to linear probing on the GPU, and if you know what those words mean, join in contributing. Yeah, no, I didn't know. I didn't understand a word of that. The result is that not only will EU5 save files load roughly as fast as EU4, which is crazy because PDX Tools was so fast, like crazy fast at loading EU4 save files, but it's gained cross-platform rendering capabilities outside of the browser. I don't know what that means either. They have a proof of concept native application that cranks out screenshots across an entire directory of saves. Very nice. To tide you over until release, here is once a screenshot generated by PDX Tools. This is not the start date because the Ottomans have expanded. Oh god, people are going to analyze this and say, oh, end of the world again because this or that or whatever did not happen. Though I have absolutely no idea what date this is. Sweden has started colonizing Finland quite heavily. Castile took a little bite out of Portugal. This could probably be something as early as like 1360 or something. We also have PDX Unlimiter, which is another tool that I haven't used but have heard of. Save game manager and toolbox for all Paradox Grand Strategy games. Thanks to pre-release access, they already support EU5 on release day. Fantastic news. Since keeping track of save games is getting more complicated with every new campaign you start or backup you revert to, I would say not as much in EU5 because every campaign has its own like folder full of saves within the game itself. It actually got a little bit easier. But either way, all types of save games supported included Ironman and modded save games. With the integrated fast game launcher, you can instantly continue a save game without having to visit the Paradox launcher. Okay, so I mean this is what Paradox Unlimiter does already then, because again there is no launcher for EU5. But for EU5 comes with a save game editor. The EU5 save structure is significantly larger and more convoluted than in EU4, meaning you won't have any fun manually editing these things in saves. The editor allows you to easily edit, search, and navigate the save structure, making your life significantly easier. I might actually start using that. That would be kind of nice, actually. Ironman Converter, if you want to ditch Ironman mode for an existing save, you can. Automatic save game checkpoints. You can create regular save game checkpoints and backups to revert to if needed, so you don't have to restart a campaign from the start. Having a history of previous save games for a campaign protects you against bugs, glitches, and terrible luck. Integration of other PDX community-made tools. So Paradox Converters and the Irony mod manager are supported. I don't know what these are. And the application got a complete overhaul for version 3, but released at the same time as EU5. Very cool. I like that they've done this. I may end up using it. But yeah, that's cool. Minesweeper. Yep, that thing. Have you ever been stuck in a 13-year regency or been in a multiplayer campaign with 2 random South American native players or in a Speed 1 player war? With the EU5 Minesweeper, you'll never have to be bored again. It's mad what people have been able to do. Cool. EU5 Minesweeper as Minesweeper. Crazy. With 3 difficulty levels and endless replayability, the classic game you know, love, and I've never enjoyed it, and only know and love because it comes pre-installed with your operating system. I was always more of a pinball guy. Isn't too much to say about Minesweeper, so I'll use the space to talk about EU5 modding in general. Early access gave him... Actually, who was this that did this? I think this was Steopa? No, this was Sol Invictus, sorry. Early access gave him the excellent opportunity to see what was technically possible with the new engine, and he can report that the game is infinitely easier to mod than EU4. This is really nice to see. EU5 Minesweeper just took around 11 hours to implement in total, compared to the 3 weeks of work the EU4 Minesweeper took. His own personal skill growth over 5 years notwithstanding, he attributes most of it to EU5 having file watchers. In EU4, every change you made, however minor, you had to restart the game to have it take effect. Debugging anything took ages, let alone the tens of thousands of lines of generated code needed for something like Minesweeper. In EU5, the change just immediately updates in the game with no need to restart, no matter how large of a change you made to the files. You never had to restart them for it to take effect. That's really, really handy. The advantages afforded to his sanity from one change cannot be overstated. He imagines migrating his old mods, chess and blackjack to the new game will be significantly or similarly trivial. That's really cool to see. Yeah, not having to restart the game entirely to change something is going to be huge for modding. And so all the people are saying, oh, this mod, that mod, whatever, will take years and years and years to, come to fruition. Maybe it won't be quite as long as you think. Maybe. We'll see. So, wrapping up, with our look into what's cooking for EU5 mods concluded, he'd like to stress, as community manager, so we're back to Ryagi, that modding is one of the top priorities. The modding community has always been a key pillar for our games, and this remains unchanged with EU5. To me, support for modding is not a list of tasks that needs completion, but rather a continuous effort that goes far beyond our post-release phase. So we're in it for the long haul with this one. They hope that the peek into E5 modding inspires some of us to begin our own modding journeys, whether that's as an author or a player. So next week, the associate producer Dargeth will host the traditional look at game achievements, which will be, I believe, the last Tinto talk, which will be, yeah, end of a frickin' era, clearly. There's not very many comments that I want to go through, but there are a few. So, confirmation that you can create your own map modes in that folder. Syntax is similar to the situation syntax shown in the Tinto talk, but expanded. EU5 does not have a launcher, I said that already, but there's the confirmation there. Show how location definitions work and how they look in history files. So a line from map data location template, you got the location name, the topography, the vegetation and the climate, the religion, the culture, and the raw material, and other attributes can be set in the history files as well. And then, is there a music player? No, not at launch, unfortunately, but it's something that they are looking into. But yeah, that is a look at modding. And again, I am a big fan of mods. I am not an modder myself, so there is only so deep that I can go into this. If I can give a quick shout out to Partner Joffrey, he is a modder in his own right. He did a 3-hour live stream where he looked at this dev diary. You should go and check him out. I'll put a link to his channel in the description so you can go check it out. Yeah, this was basically a modder's look at the modding dev diary, so definitely I think that might be worth looking into. But for me, I am so excited to play mods in EU5. I just am. It seems like something that I've spent a significant amount of hours doing in EU4, and I'm looking forward to doing it in EU5 as well. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. It's been over an hour of a video, so I am gonna end here, stop rambling, and probably go play some EU5. Links in the description and the pinned comment and all that kind of stuff, and I guess I'll see you next time. Bye bye.